You're
I'm
the
throwing
Beyonce of comedy, it sounds
Yes,
like.
Drew, let's get that trending. Okay. When you publicize this podcast, Kiki, aka the Beyonce of
Of
comedy.
comedy. I love that.
You're listening to the podcast Clean Comedy Chats with your host Drew Davis. It's gonna be awesome and will change your life forever. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Welcome back to Clean Comedy Chats. I'm your host, Drew Davis, and I'm so happy you guys are here with us for another week. We have another comedian for another conversation. If you're new here, just a quick update. This is Clean Comedy Chats. This is a podcast from the Clean Comedy Collective. We are a virtual comedy network with comedians all across the country. I believe our current roster is about 206 comedians from all across the country. And so each week, I bring a new friend to come chat with. Some of them I know very well. Some of them, honestly, it's like this is our first conversation. I'm joined today with by Kiki Wynns. Kiki, I'm sorry, I don't know what I was going to call you, but I mixed your
You
name
got
up.
it though. And you
So,
put the
so
S on there, which is
yeah,
important.
yeah. Kiki wins. She's always winning. She's just a winner so much that they named her that. So,
Yeah.
but Kiki's from North Carolina and Raleigh, North Carolina, right?
Right.
Or yes, that's right. And so we're excited to have her. Before we get into the interview, I should probably tell you guys the sales pitch. If you want to learn more about the Clean Comedy Collective, go to our website, which is cleancomedycollective.com. That's where you can see all of our comedians from whichever state you want to check out. It's a great way to discover your new favorite comedian. Also, we have shows all across the state, so you can see more about that. In fact, Kiki's running a show for us in Nashville. She's going to talking about during our podcast. There's an option to donate and join the Patreon, so you can get full, longer episodes, full interviews. We always just post the free ones are just an hour, but sometimes we have longer conversations, and sometimes there's a lot of great content that you'll never know you missed unless you get it. So we'd love for you to check that out. And lastly, if you're a comedian and you work clean and you want to learn more about working with the Clean Comedy Collective, we have a submission section, and we would love for you to check it out. So that being said, I want to introduce you guys to our guest today, Kiki Wynns, and I'm going to read a short bio, but then you all know how we do. Then we go beyond the bio. So Dr. Kristen Kiki Wynns is a PhD clinical psychologist who turned a bet and an open mic in 2002 into a fast rising stand-up comedy career. Kiki has opened for Craig Shoemaker multiple times, performed from Los Angeles to New York City, and is the creator and headliner of the hit show Ladies Laugh Lounge at Goodnight's Comedy Club in Raleigh, which is now branching out of North Carolina and going all across the U.S. Her mission is simple: elevate women in comedy and prove that sometimes laughter really is the best medicine. So we'll be talking about all of that interview today. I'm very excited, very happy to be
Yay.
joined with Kiki. And Kiki, before we get into all the good stuff, beyond the bio, who is Kiki Wins?
Whoa. Well, first of all, can I just say our family motto for our last name is you can't lose with wins.
I
So how
love it.
amazing is that?
That's great. What a positive like that. That is how you like breed winners is with a motto
Right.
like that. Yeah.
That's right. Well, yeah, that is a great question. Who is Kiki Wins? It's funny. I just was meeting with somebody today for like a networking thing. She runs a school, and she was hearing all the things I do. Where I'm a psychologist, I'm a comedian, I'm a speaker, I'm a mom of two. Where my babies have flown the nest, but they're still young. 22 and 20, so they're still around. And then
Yeah.
got the husband, the dog, a social life. So I was telling her, like, I just believe in packing as much into life as you can. And I'm also super intentional with my time where I do a lot. I do love life. I love to have fun,
Mhm.
and I love to just really see, what gifts I've been given with speaking and making people laugh and helping others, and just seeing how much of that I can do. But I am intentional with carving out time and trying not to just waste time just mindlessly scrolling the internet
Mhm.
or doing the social media thing. If I'm going to be hanging out with you or taking a walk or exercising or writing a set, then I'm just going to be intentional with that time. And I also believe we should all get enough sleep. So I'm not sacrificing my sleep either. I like my solid 8 to 9 hours if I can get it. So
I was
lots of
like, can
me.
you really get 8 hours of sleep? That's such a hard thing to do.
I can. And with this time change, I can flirt with the 9.5 hours. I'm a good sleeper, except for when I wake up at 4 a.m. stressed out about something. But other than that, I'm a really good sleeper.
I love that. I agree with everything you said because like I do think using your time intentionally and to a degree, especially I don't know if you've ever or someone's told you because it sounds like you have a pretty good handle of this. Like, oh man, I wish I had the time, or I just don't have the time, or I'm too busy to do that. But I mean, we make our own schedules. We if we're too busy, we can fix that. And especially in comedy, when I work
Yeah.
with newer comedians, and especially the busy ones, the ones with families, the fun ones with kids, we talk about the importance of you kind of have to make time to go do comedy. Like don't do it in a way where you give up your family, but like at some point you have to say this is the time when I'm going to go out and respect that. But I haven't mastered the
Yeah.
8 hours of sleep yet. We're at a
I can
we're at a
help you.
4 to 6 and I feel like that's fine. But
Ooh, that is skimpy.
the first thing I want to know about you is in your bio and on your website. I would love to hear more about the bet that got you into stand up comedy. That sounds like a fun story.
Right. Well, the bet came after flirting around with some comedy classes. So my big story of how I got into comedy, period, from being a successful psychologist for decades and being already pretty busy running a private practice with multiple locations and all that. But 2021, I was a bit stressed out and anxious and burnout because of this little pesky thing called COVID. So
Yeah, yeah, that got under a lot of people's skin. It
I
really
know it was
did.
so irritating. Like, go away, pandemic. So I did take an improv comedy class just for self care. I was like, I'm going to do something fun and creative and different. So I took an improv comedy class, loved it. Then that led to taking a stand up class and realizing my style is more fit for stand up. I'm a writer at heart and I love to control the narrative and I don't mind being on a stage. I always joke and say, I don't mind the spotlight aimed right at me.
Right. I
So
feel that.
yeah, yeah. So I kind of morphed into that. And then fast forward to that next year, summer of 2022, my best friend and my husband were two of the most supportive people for this comedy thing because my whole life I've been funny. I love to deliver the line in a party or in a group, sitting around the dinner table and getting the laugh. I would love, even with my staff, to be the silly one doing pranks. So I'd always been a funny person. But that summer, my best friend and husband and her husband and I, we played trivia every week. So they were like, when are you going to do an open mic? When are you going to do an open mic? And I was like, I'm scared. I don't know. So that led to a bet that if I did one, just a 4 minute open mic, then they would go camping with us one weekend. And I'm like a major quality time love language
Mhm.
person. It's in a three-way tie with words of affirmation and touch. So my husband,
3 out of 5. That's like you're almost like, yeah, I'm in all the love languages, and I
I
bet you
know,
don't mind. You don't mind gifts either. Like
I don't mind those or acts of service. Yeah. But she knew, my best friend knew that a whole weekend away when they had promised me that they would do it would be motivating. So that gave me just enough incentive to do what I still say is the scariest thing I've ever done. And I am adrenaline junkie. I love to do thrilling physical feats. And in my day job as a psychologist, I would do TV news interviews that would be live and it's just like one take and you have to do it, or testify in court. I knew scary stuff, but that first open mic behind the stage, just waiting to go out, I was so scared and I just thought I might just fall apart and melt. But I did it. I got the camping weekend and then I
Yeah.
was off and running into comedy.
That's so and in your first one that you were so scared about, did that one go so well where it like made you excited about the rest, or was it just as scary as you anticipated and you still did it though?
It went extraordinarily well, actually. I mean, I had gone to some open mics to watch them and see what it was
Hmm.
like. And I knew, this is no disparagement, but like in the open mic world, you have the people that are like reading their note cards and
Hmm.
like, wait, what was I going to say here? And sometimes it's painful, but I had mine memorized. It was a tight four. It was really well received. And then part of my Cinderella story, as I call it, after just three of those open mics at Raleigh Improv, then they reached out to me to book me for a paid gig. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
what? And I would ask the other comedians I was starting to be friendly with, like, so is this how it works? And they were like, no,
No.
not usually. So it was really cool early
Yeah.
affirmation that I had something.
But you had something, and now looking back as a producer, as I probably do, sometimes when you're at those open mics, when you're watching people, you can't really explain it, but like you can tell the people that they're new, but they're gonna be good, right? You can
Yep,
just you
for
can
sure.
there's a and I can say this as somebody who teaches comedy, there's a thing that you can't really teach that sometimes you see. And to me, that's when I'm like, when I see someone newer, I'm like, let me give them a 5 or 10 minute spot on my show. They look like they look like that would help them grow. Sometimes you
Yes,
see people and it's not there yet, and then you see them practicing and keeping going and stuff like that, and then later you're like, well, maybe it's there. But for
that's
some
right.
reason, there's just a few that you can tell it, the it, whatever it is,
It's
So,
so true. I actually just had one of those. I just had a women's lake retreat for aspiring comedians, writers, just entrepreneurs, women that just wanted to level up. And one lady there, she had taken a couple comedy classes, but never started in the circuit
mhm.
yet. But she kept making me laugh out loud all weekend. Her presence and her quick wit and her delivery, I was like, you have got something. So I've booked her to be on my next big show, my next big Ladies Laugh Lounge, which
Yeah,
I know we haven't talked about yet. But I just was like, I've never done this before, but I would like for you to be in my next big comedy show. And I'm going to have her do some guest spots to get ready. But she had that is just like, once you see it, it's got to be the whole package: energy, delivery,
yep,
creativity, the content. It's like checking lots of boxes actually to make a successful comedian. It's way harder than people realize, but she had it.
very true. Let's talk about Ladies Laugh Lounge for a bit. Let's talk about, you have this amazing show. You've done it several times at Good Nights Comedy Club. You're bringing it here to Nashville. Have you done it other places in North Carolina or other places in the country yet? Tell me everything.
Okay, yeah. Well, so we haven't left the state yet. That's why I'm super excited about Nashville. But again, I do feel very blessed that somehow, just right place, right
Mhm.
time, I started to have successes, and that's also part of that very first paid gig at Raleigh Improv, where I sweet talked my way into the green room to talk to Craig Shoemaker and ended up opening for him. So we can talk about that too. But similar
Absolutely.
with Ladies Laugh Lounge, I had done the North Carolina's funniest competition. I think 2 years in a row at Goodnight's Comedy Club, and then I'd gone to some of their open mics. So they had started to see me, and I think even though I never won that, I still want a woman to win that sometime.
Mm.
I got on their radar. So I was just talking to one of the managers there, and he was offering me an opportunity to do a show there and see how it goes. And he actually said, like, we're open to your ideas. What do you want to do? So at the time, I had two ideas: one for like a mental health type show where other mental health comedians or people that joked about mental health could do a show,
Mhm.
or women. So then I was like, let's do women, because at that point I'd already started to understand that we are grossly underrepresented in comedy.
Mm.
The statistic I share at my shows is 27% of stand-up comedians are women. So we're still the minority. And I noticed that it was hard to get stage time as a woman, that sometimes I would think I was just as talented, if not more, than some of the guys that were getting stage time. So I had an idea to do an all female lineup I would headline, and it would be a themed show, and just see how it goes. So that first show, Ladies Left Lounge, debut in August 2024, only 2 years into doing comedy, sold out in like a week of advertising. Now that was in Goodnight's smaller room. They have a smaller room and then main stage. So that was thrilling though, like being a pretty
Yeah.
new comedian and having this idea with all female comedy show. So then after that, it's just been moving, getting promoted to the main stage at Goodnight's, the big room, which holds probably a few hundred people, like maybe 300, I think, or so, maybe 350. So now, since then, we've had 4 more shows on the main stage, all different themes. Like I have my spooky show in October where everybody dresses up in costumes. I had Galentine's where people wore pink and red. We're coming up on our 6th show there, Spring Fever, where it's leaning into just like get all your girls for the best like cruise or tropical vacation, where your
Oh,
cute
that's fun.
dresses.
Yeah.
Yeah, have your fun tropical drink. So every time, I like to say it's not just a comedy show, it's an experience. So I don't know if I'm meant to, if I should have been like Beyonce or something, but I love to have music going.
You're
I'm
the
throwing
Beyonce of comedy. It sounds
Yes,
like.
Drew, let's get that trending. Okay. When you publicize this podcast, Kiki, aka the Beyonce of
Of
comedy.
comedy. I love that.
Yeah,
Hashtag Beyonce of comedy. Make it a thing.
yes, I love it. But I really like to make my shows have theater. So like my Galentine show, I came out on stage wearing a white fur coat over my red dress. And I had talked 2 of the security guys into coming on stage with me, acting really serious with their arms crossed like they were guarding me. And then as I came up to the mic, one of them came behind me and took off my white fur coat
That's
like
so
I was
cool.
Beyonce or Celine Dion.
That's amazing. What if
So
yeah,
I
I mean
just,
that's just so much fun.
it
That is
is
definitely an
like,
experience, you know?
yeah, and you know, the standard comedy show with an opener, a feature, a headliner, everybody has the mic, fist bump. That's fine. I love those, but I'm excited that I can have something different with some theatrical flair
Mm.
and give different women a chance to shine. I've had now 6 times 5 women, and sometimes I have repeats, but to
Yeah.
give up and comers or established women, but they've never performed in a big comedy club, I love to share the love,
Mhm.
give women a chance to shine, and then just really have it be an opportunity to embrace women, supporting
Yeah.
women. So I tap into my business networks, like, hey, can you come out and support this show, and get people to come with their colleagues, their family, their besties. It's just a good time. And now I have taken that show a few other places in North Carolina, to answer your question, like, you know, a Vineyard and another comedy club outside of the
Mhm.
Triangle, but never cross the state line. So coming to Nashville will be the first time we're going to take it to Nashville. And what I love about it is it's a copyable template. Now I have some of your top
Mhm.
female comedians in Nashville in my lineup. So this idea can be replicated, I'm hoping, all over, where it gives
Yeah.
local women in big cities all over the US a chance to pack a stage and show that we can
I
have a
would love that.
successful
I mean,
show.
that is and you have an amazing lineup. For anyone listening who's here out of Nashville,
Yeah,
the show is I want to say it's March 27th. I'm gonna
very
double
good.
check. Am
Yes,
I right? Okay, March 27th.
yes.
It's a Friday night. I'm very excited. Let me just take a moment and brag about, like, it's at the L&M Marketplace here in Nashville. They have a lot of I'll be honest, they have a lot of stores that I don't care about that a lot of people love, a lot of boutiques, a lot of local Nashville owned, like they make crafts and they sell them at their stores, and they're beautiful things, would look
Oh,
great in your house. That's not what I care about. But right under the music studio, which is where Kiki will be performing, there's a place called Penne Pisane, and it is literally the best spaghetti and pasta that we have here in Nashville. So like anytime I have any friends performing at the Muses, if I'm able to like be there, I make it a whole thing. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the show and then I'm gonna go downstairs and get some pasta. And I'm pretty sure they have it
Ooh,
worked out where like if you tell them you were at Muses beforehand, you get like a 15 or 20% discount or something. Like so
yes.
I cannot stress enough if you're in Nashville, March 27th, that's next week from when this podcast airs. Let's laugh together. It's gonna be a great show, a fantastic lineup, and let's get pasta after the
Yeah.
show. Like
We're
it'll
doing
be
it,
fun.
right,
So
Drew, with my
yes,
twin
we
who's coming
yeah, we're
too.
doing
You
it.
can meet my
You're
twin.
that'll be so fun. Are you guys like do you look exactly alike? Or are you the other twins, the other kind of twin where you're not exactly alike?
We're pretty close. We are identical. We found out when we were 40. It was a big mystery for 40 years, identical or fraternal, because way back in 1975 when we were born, the doctors were like, we don't know. Half the doctors in the room said identical, half said fraternal, but we took a DNA test at 40 and we're identical. You can probably tell us apart if you know one of us, you can
Right.
tell. We're not like freaky, you know,
You're not like
carbon
in those
copy.
double mint commercials back in the day with
Right.
um
Right. But
but
pretty
that's
pretty close.
now has your twin ever done comedy?
This is so funny. She doesn't want to do comedy, but she's a great supporter of my comedy. So some of the shows that are closer to where she lives, she's really rallied her people to come out
That's
and support my
awesome.
show. And then one time we got creative with marketing, and I was like, I'll give you a 5 minute guest spot if you can rally some people. And she's done it twice now, and she did a great job. She's like a natural
That's
like
amazing.
spotlight hog and like
Yeah.
comfortable in front of people, but
She
she's done
just
it twice
she
now.
grew up knowing she was always a winner. So it's it's part
Except
of
that's
it.
not our maiden name. That's my married
Oh,
name.
oh no. So she's not a win. She's not a
She's
winner.
not. She wishes she could be. But
That's funny.
we,
I
we
forgot
were
about
still
that.
winners, I guess. But
But
yeah, so you'll get to meet her, and anybody that comes to this show can take cute selfies with Kiki and her twin and Drew with pasta sauce all over our face. Can you
man,
imagine
that
a better
sounds like that
scene?
sounds fantastic. That'll go for a lot of money on the internet. Just
We're probably selling out right now, Drew,
I-
as we
it, yeah,
speak.
it's probably yeah. I'm watching the tickets. Well, it is going to be a great show. I'm excited about it. And before, there was one thing I wanted to say when you were explaining it that for our non-comedian audience members, it something impressive about what you're saying was about how even when it was your first show for the small room, you were selling out, and then you ended up selling the bigger room out. Something I never knew until I was producing shows is honestly how hard it is, especially with indie shows, to get butts and seats to sell
Yeah,
out. So when people talk about their shows and they talk about how they were selling it out, and if it's not like a well established, like here in Nashville lives Zanies that shows all the time, and it's got
yeah,
a culture of so many years, and yeah, that's why people know that place for comedy, and that's wonderful. And so them selling out, but when you're just starting a show somewhere, especially when you're not, a household name, to sell out a show, I just realized now not enough people realize what an accomplishment that is. And so good job for you, Kiki, and for anyone who ever wants to produce shows.
thank you.
That's a challenge, but it's a good thing to do. I'm excited to do your show is coming to Nashville, and it sounds like you have a good handle on how to produce them. So good job.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, and while I'm in town, I'm gonna be in another local comedian's show, who's got something hot going on that Thursday night, and your show, and then at Zany's on Monday and Tuesday. I don't even think I've told you I'm extending my
Yeah.
trip, so then I'll be at Zany's Monday and Tuesday. So it's gonna be a fun,
So much,
packed comedy weekend
yeah,
in
that'll be
Nashville.
so much fun, and those will all be such different experiences, but all fun and good ones. I run a little coffee house show. It doesn't take much to fill the room, but they have a good time, and we've done it long enough where we are starting to get like a regular audience, and it's fun. The lineup you're on, I have a lot of folks that are visiting in, so it's like it's better than usual lineup. Those people are going to get a killer show for just $5. Like
Ooh, let's
it's going to
sell
be
that one
so,
out
so Yeah,
Woo!
let's do it. Let's do it. And then I bet you're doing Nateland. Are you doing the Good Clean Funny show, or are you doing the New Material Monday, or are either of those
Okay,
at
they've
St. News?
changed it around. It was three different shows. It was the new material and the is Nate Land the same thing or a different one?
It's a different show. And usually it's in, so Nateland has a Good Clean Funny show, but it also has a Nateland showcase show. You might be on one of those, but that's in the lab, which is like the room
Okay,
next
yeah,
to the
one was
main
in the
room. So
lab and one was at the other
yeah,
one.
but both are very fun rooms. When I watch the shows, I like the lab better because there's more space to sit in. But performing
Oh,
wise, they're both like lots of fun. So
ooh, I'm
it's kind
excited.
of more fun. The big room, I mean, they clump a lot of people together, and so when you're on stage making them all laugh, it's a blast. I heard your story with Craig Shoemaker. Your intro to him is a fun origin story, so I'd love to hear how that happened. And I also think it's important for comedians to hear how it works sometimes, how we meet people that may lead to more, regular feature work or traveling with bigger headliners, because it is kind of luck, but it's also being in the right place at the right time and delivering.
100%. And a big thing that, especially when I'm speaking to women, like in coaching or at a retreat or whatever, I'm a big fan of you got to shoot your shot when you have it. So,
Hmm.
my very first ever paid gig at Raleigh Improv, remember, this is only after three open mics. Then
So
Kiki's
you're a
there doing,
pro. You're
yeah, doing my first paid show. I think it was like a 8 minute set probably, but we were like the local showcase show that night because Craig Shoemaker was only doing one show at 7 o'clock. So he was in the green room after his show. Now, when I was in college, I went to college in Raleigh. Back in that day, Craig Shoemaker, he was like at the peak of his career. He's the Love Master. He was touring all over. He was like in the same cohort as like Seinfeld and those guys. So he was
yeah.
huge back then. And I would go to Good Nights Comedy Club and watch Craig Shoemaker perform. So then for my first show, I hear that Craig Shoemaker is there. He's on stage finishing his set. Then he's in the green room. All the other local comedians are kind of like looking in there and they're like, oh, Craig is still in there. And then they'll leave again. So I went in there to get a drink out of the refrigerator. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Craig Shoemaker, I used to go and see you when I was in college. I love your stuff. You're so funny. And then I just kept chatting him up. And I was like, guess what? This is my first ever paid show. I'm going to do a set. Will you stay and watch me? And he was like,
Sure.
maybe. But then I went on stage, I did my set, I came backstage, and Craig was there, and he was like, this is so much like what you and I were talking about before. He was like, well, you've got it. Like, you've got the package, you've got the energy, the delivery, the material. He was like, that was really good. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? So then we like said a few more things. I DM'd him on Instagram to say thank you. And then I noticed he was following me. And I was like,
Oh,
oh
that's
my
so
gosh, he's
cool.
following me. And then he DM'd me back and we just started a correspondence. And eventually, through other conversations and doing some chats and whatever, then he had me open for him just a few months later in Charlotte. So again, at this point, I'm still like 7 months into comedy, opening for Craig Shoemaker at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte. And then I ended up opening for him a whole weekend in Atlanta and then in Raleigh a couple times. But I just really, I do like that story because it's really neat what he did for an up and coming comedian. But also, like, yeah, the other comedians were just like, oh, he's in there. And I was like, Craig Shoemaker, hey, will you stay and watch my set? And then great things came from it.
Yeah. And yeah, and I really appreciate what you said about shooting your shot when you have those opportunities. Just, you go for it.
Yeah.
And you learn, I feel like in comedy, you learn that a lot. You know, the answer is always no if you don't try, if you don't ask. And then also, like, if the answer is no, the world keeps spinning. Like, it's fine.
That's
So
right.
when we have these opportunities, we need to go for them. And you do it long enough where you start hearing stories like that more common. And so for me, it's always like, why wouldn't it be yes? Like, why wouldn't this could be the time that it might work out? So, it never hurts to try. So
That's right. And guess what? Some of this, perhaps some could say, is my impulsivity of just saying things and not being as cautious. But
mm,
guess what? I forgot. I don't even think I've told you this. That impulsivity led to me making Robin Williams laugh one time.
that's so cool. Please talk about that. That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
And
so cool.
get ready to really freak out because the like full circle life moments in this story are nuts. So, have you seen the movie Patch Adams?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Robin Williams, Patch Adams, he's a medical doctor that really believes that laughter is, as healing as medicine. And so that's the movie, right? So when he was filming that, it was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which is where I happen to be living as a 22-year-old. So they were looking for extras for that movie. So I was like looking for a few extra dollars. I signed
Mhm.
up. You won't see me in the movie at all. But I was
Ah,
like,
bummer.
yeah, yeah, I was like one of the people that walk on campus. So at some point, all the extras were like standing around waiting to be told what to do. And Robin Williams walks up to us and starts chatting with us, like right in front of us. And he's being Robin Williams, silly. He's doing like fake accents, like pretending to do different voices and characters. And at one point, he pretends like he's a tour guide at an art museum and he's showing us different artwork. And he's acts like he's showing us the statue David right in front of us. So I reach forward and I say, "Ooh, can I touch it?" And I kind of inappropriately act like I'm reaching for the statue David's private area. And Robin Williams laughed at me
That's
and made eye
wonderful.
contact. And so was already amazing. But then to fast forward to become a psychologist comedian who believes and preaches the healing power of humor is just like mind boggling. Like,
Right.
how does life hand us that kind of really cool 360-degree moment, right?
Isn't it interesting how all of our experiences like inform whatever's next for us? Like that,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of comedians or a lot of new comedians when they're starting, they're always afraid like I have to do things in this set way, or they hear about what other comedians do, and they're like, well, this is what I need to do. I know when I first started, a lot of people were like, well, I have to move to LA or I have to move to New York City, otherwise I
Yes.
won't be a successful comedian.
Right.
But what I've learned through watching other comedians, the successful ones, and even just talking to people, just talking to how the career of comedy works, is like everyone's backstory informs kind of the direction that their career takes. Whether it's that's how you come up with your material, or
Right.
sometimes it's like the skill set you get in your previous job or your current job or whatever is what makes you the doors open for what you're doing. So there's no
Yes.
one size fit all, I guess
That's
is,
right.
but yeah. Well, you had mentioned the healing power of humor, and I wanted to jump and talk to you about you do a lot of public speaking, you do a lot of sharing in your doctor world with but incorporating with comedy, and so I'd love to hear more about that and everything behind it. So
Yeah, it's so neat. It's really just been in the last year, maybe year and change that speaking has taken off. I've always spoken as a psychologist about different topics, lots of things with parenting and other things, but when I became a comedian and I started to just look into things a little bit more because I realized and you probably know this, when you're standing on stage delivering just a great set and you're getting that laughter from the crowd, then sometimes they're coming up to you after and they're glowing and they're like,
mm.
this has like been meaningful. Like, I was having a tough time, a tough day. And we're also fed as comedians by that laughter. So when I started to just look into this, I realized there's all this research about laughter and humor, like for decades, that it helps our immune system, it helps our pain tolerance, It helps us live longer. It's like reduces anxiety and depression and stress, improves all the good mood. It releases like all the dopamine and good neurotransmitters. And they've studied our brains laughing, and amazing things are going on in our brains when we're laughing. And when I speak, I also talk about how a lot of people don't realize that intentional forced laughter is still good for us. So there's all these exercises you can do, almost like yoga and breathing, but with laughter, where you're just laughing out loud. And that can still release all the neurotransmitters. So I take people through cheesy, like laughter exercises when I speak, that at first they're all self-conscious to do. But after they do it, they're like, oh my gosh, I actually do feel better. And then the fake
Right.
laughter leads to real laughter as they're looking around at each other. And there's always the one person that's doing the crazy over the top laugh. But yeah, that's my current, I guess, side hustle on a side hustle on a side hustle, is to do
That's fun.
speaking. And what's cool about it is it translates to any audience. So I've
Mhm.
delivered that to psychologists, attorneys. My first keynote in December was very serious government budget association people. So everybody can benefit from that topic of how to pull more laughter into their workplace, especially because we're at work, most of us, for 8 hours a day. So to have more laughter and humor in your workplace is so good for the
Makes such a
culture.
difference.
Yeah, for your team's productivity. It's so good. So I just am now excited to spread that word as much as I can, that we should all be pulling that more intentionally into our day-to-day lives. And there's so many easy, short little ways we can all laugh more every day.
One of my favorite things about doing comedy is you're creating space for this enjoyment, for this healthy thing. And they may have been having a really rough day, and your jokes might be the best part that just makes it a little bit more bearable. They still may have to go home to their tough situation, but they're a little bit happier. So
That's right. And that reminds me, the other key point I try to remind people is, we all know there are moments in life that are just, they're just tough, and you just need to grieve or
mhm.
cry. But there are a ton in a given day that you're at a crossroads. You can choose to be super frustrated, irritated, mad, or find a funny, humorous lens and just laugh at the absurdity of the situation, or make fun of yourself, or
Right.
like have fun with the other person. I use this a lot in marriage. My husband and I could, we could just dig in and start a fight, or say something silly, or find a lighthearted jab and then just move on. So I also
Move
believe
on.
we should find that humorous lens when we can, because life is hard enough anyway. So if you can choose a way to find the funny, then do it.
Do
It's
it.
going to
Yeah.
benefit you.
Here's a random question. If you could give any one tip to stand-up comedian, like new comedians, and like they magically understand it. Like I know sometimes we can give advice and no one takes it, but in this case, you're gonna get to say it and everyone will get it. What would be your one tip for new comedians?
Oh gosh. Um, can I cheat and do two that are in a tie in my
Yeah,
brain?
sure.
Okay,
We'll say two.
they're short, but two came to mind, and one is practical and one is more from the heart. So
Okay.
the practical one is, I really believe everyone should write out their set. Instead of just having the idea of it with maybe some scribbled notes. Maybe this is
Hmm.
the type A in me, maybe this is the business person, but I have my sets written out. And then, I go through them, I time them. I want them to be like solid. So I do believe you should take the time to write it out the way you want to say it. And then you can tweak, the phrasing some, but I do believe you should write it. And then number two, the one from the heart, is I really encourage comedians to be authentic to their story, their voice, their personality. Because I've had advice that I should try more one-liners, or
Hmm.
more like quick setup punchline. And my style just isn't that. My style is, I'm an observer of life. So my bits aren't quick setup punchline or clever,
Mhm.
one-liners. It's so let me tell you all about going for ADHD testing as an adult and then having funny in that. But I do think you should be true to your voice, your style, and who you are. Because if you try to adopt somebody else's, it never lands with the audience.
Mhm.
You're not going to get laughs. Even if the other person did it the same way, if it's not authentic to you, it's just not going to resonate with the audience.
Absolutely. And that's a big part of the comic process is understanding and learning your voice. And what's really fun is if you do it long enough, you start noticing your voice shifts a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to adapt to that. When I first started, I absolutely was like a set up and punch, comic. Like Jim Gaffigan's one of my favorite comedians, and I used to always love how he got those quick laughs. And so that was a lot of my earlier stuff is just the set up and punch. And
Yeah.
then a few years ago, I just when I wrote new material, it was gravitating more to storytelling style, and it wasn't
Ah.
wasn't something I planned on doing, but it's just and it to kind of echo what you're saying, it's like you got to be true to your authentic self. Whatever's you're coming up with, lean into that, and yeah, that's a good point. So,
It's so true.
I
And what you're passionate about. I find that
mm-mm,
in both worlds because when I was in the throes of parenting, I was really passionate about my child psychology practice, talking to parents and talking about my parenting book, um, and parenting. And now this season of my life, I still care about my parenting book, but I'm passionate now about like comedy and the certain things that crack me up at this stage in life. So it's also like what excites you when you sit down to start writing something or to think about being on stage. And I think that's a good sign of a good set is if I can't wait to have my name called and
right.
be introduced and get out there and see how my material is going to land with the audience. Like that's a good feeling. You should still be excited by your own material.
Yeah, at the very least, the starting point should be like, well, I think it's funny. I like this, like
Right.
the skill comes in where because sometimes we write something that maybe doesn't do as well, and then we tweak it and we learn to make it funny for everyone else. But the start of a good joke is like, this brought me joy, like this
Yes.
was it. Yeah. So you do so much and you're so busy and you have you have like a amazing career and comedy and it sounds like you still do both. So how do you balance being so busy and productive in your work life with as you've been developing more with your comedy life? Do you ever feel like they conflict? Are you able to do it in a way? Because it sounds like you work remotely, or do you able to do it where like you can balance the two, or just sometimes it just suck because it's like I don't have enough time for all this stuff.
When I'm speaking to women, I often say, I think I heard this from Oprah, that you can't have it all at once, but in the meaning in the same day.
Mhm.
But I do believe you can have it all in a week. So for me, my mindset is yes, I still am pretty busy running my private practice, and that's a lot. It's 4 locations. And as you know, doing anything in comedy, producing shows or
Mhm.
just prepping for the next show is a lot, and speaking and blah, blah, blah. But my mindset is in a given day, there's some days I am not going to check the social box at all, or enough downtime, or exercise, or laundry, or dishes ever. I'll never check dishes. But for me, it's like in the week, I want to make sure I'm checking the boxes and I made some time for my spiritual life and for my physical fitness and for seeing, my best friend. So that's my mindset is I am very type A, which I know is unusual in the comedy world. I've found out that there's a lot of creatives that are like, the show in 2 days. You want to know when to show up and where your place is in the lineup? Like, what? So I am type A. I have my days pretty mapped out, but it is back to that intentional mindset of just saying, today I'm going to need to do some promotion for Ladies Laugh Lounge in Nashville. I'm going to announce my lake retreat. I'm going to handle these new client emails. I went and I had dinner with my mom because I needed to see her and check on her and bond with my spring break college kid. So I've done a lot today, but it's just that mindful
Mm.
intentionality for, yeah, we all get the 24 hours. So how am I going to maximize each hour that I get?
Yeah, I love that. And that's very for me, that's very helpful to hear about the whole maybe you can't get it done today, but you can get it done this week.
Yes.
I'm learning to adjust having gone from full-time comedy where I could be super on it with responding to emails, super on it with booking requests, super on it because
Gosh.
that was 20, but now like for the first 8 hours of my day, Monday through Friday, I have a job that's demanding and
Whew.
has responsibilities. And so
Right.
now it's like I do in the evening have comedy time, but a lot of stuff, what is that, like 3 or 4 hours in the evening that I can put to comedy. And
Right.
sometimes it involves going out or filming a podcast or, so I'm learning to be okay with the fact that sometimes I don't respond to people till the weekend and
That's
that
right.
they'll live, they'll be fine. So,
That's right.
but
Yes. If they
uh,
want you, the opportunity is usually still there a few days later.
yes, absolutely. And then I guess the last question from me before we give you the opportunity to answer random people's questions,
Okay.
which is fun. Um, you talked about your social box. So when you're not doing comedy and when you're not being a psychologist and taking care of people's needs, when you're doing just fun stuff, or I know you talk maybe it's the extreme sports you talked about before, which I didn't know, I didn't know that about you either. But like, what? Yeah, what's fun? What do you do to when you're not doing all of this?
Yeah, so not too much adrenaline sports or activities at this age. I do like to travel. I'm passionate about travel, and I say I collect countries like most women collect purses. Like I'd rather spend my money on travel than clothes or purses or jewelry.
Yeah,
So a big world traveler, and that's where I've done some cool adrenaline things. Always
yeah.
planning the next trip.
What's one of the coolest places you've been, or coolest things you've done at the coolest places? Like, what do you have? Like one thing that just, man, this is a story.
Gosh, that's really hard. Somebody just asked me that this weekend because I like to track all the countries I've been
Mhm.
to, and I've been to 34. So I
Wow,
told
yeah.
her it was like choosing my favorite child. Like it's really hard to do, but I liked being stranded in Iceland. Like we had a flight, a connecting flight in Iceland from Europe to go home, and we were stranded. And at first, we had that airport fury where we're like, this is unacceptable. We have to get home to North Carolina. Do something. And they're like, you are stuck. And then we're
Yep.
like, well, you said you'll put us up in a hotel and give us a money voucher or a restaurant voucher. Okay. So we had the best time in Iceland. We went to the lagoon where you're in that hot springs lagoon and doing the cold plunge. And I swam up to a bar in the lagoon and had my champagne looking out over stunning water. So I think it's
Oh,
like the
that's so cool.
unexpected moments in travel that are sometimes some of the coolest too.
Yeah, when you're not expecting it to be and also a part of you, it's kind of like what you're saying earlier. You have the crossroads. You could be really upset and angry and worried and nervous, or you can be
Yes,
like, "Well, here I am," and then you end up having an amazing experience, and then you still get to go home, the next day or whatever.
that's
So,
right, 100%. So yeah, travel, and then I am a runner and love movies. I'm going to South by Southwest Film Festival
cool.
in Austin, Texas this week. Well, this week. It won't be this
This
week
week in
to
real
this
life,
air.
when people listen to this a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
so film is really cool. Trivia, there's like lots of fun to be had.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
love it.
ever wanting.
That's good. Well, I mean, it's clear. It's clear to see the joy that radiates from you. Like you just seem like a happy person that enjoys fun, right? So, and that's good. That's how you stay being a happy person is you continue to enjoy it. So,
That's right.
um,
Yeah, life is good.
yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So we're entering the Ask a Comedian section of our show.
Ooh,
So
okay.
for those of you that are wondering, through Facebook, through Instagram, through Threads, through even you could just drop down and there's an option on anything that you're listening to us where you can just send us a question. Basically, it's
Hmm.
if you want me to ask the comedians anything, I keep a list of questions, and then when it's their turn on their episode, they give me a number. And so Kiki, today you're gonna be three numbers.
Okay.
between 1 and 39, excuse me, 38, 1 and 38. And that will dictate which question I ask. And again, to anyone listening, you're more than welcome to send in your questions and we'll add it to our list. And who knows, it may get answered next week.
Ooh,
So
fun. Okay, let's do number 9.
number 9. All right. This one comes from Threads, from Brian Akerson, who's a comedian we had on earlier on this
Oh,
podcast. Top three anything. It can be in movies, comedy specials, songs, albums, Supreme Court justices, or whatever you want. Top three
ooh.
anything.
Okay. Maybe it's because I've been fasting for Lent. I'm gonna do my top 3 desserts.
Okay, I love that.
Okay, it's gonna go 3, 2, 1, where one's gonna be my favorite.
So the last one you say will be number one. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay, cool.
Yes. Okay. Number 3 is gonna be just a good white on white cake, like you get at weddings. Just that delicious, yummy white cake with white frosting. Yum
Yeah,
yum.
that's good.
Love.
Yeah.
Yes. Number 2, cookies, but especially crumble cookies. Y'all have crumble where you are?
We do. Yeah, I recently had them for the first time. Very good.
I'm
I know.
obsessed.
Yeah, they're good.
They're giant. It's like 8 people can share one for their dinner and be fine.
They could, or one or two people could eat them.
Okay, then my number 1 dessert category is ice cream, but within that, best favorite of all time will always be a Dairy Queen Blizzard.
Wow.
You have those.
Okay. Yeah, yes, we have Dairy Queen here in
Okay,
Nashville as well. No, but
Blizzards.
I shouldn't have been so shocked at that because on one hand they are delicious, but I just feel like the other ones you mentioned were like so elegant and high class dessert. And then the last one was Dairy Queen Blizzard, which proves that like you can't beat the basics. You get,
That's right.
we don't need to reinvent the wheel here. Just give me a Dairy Queen Blizzard. Good for
That
you, babe.
is right. Yeah, any time of day. I mean, they're probably still open where I am until 10 p.m. So I could go to the drive-through right now
I
and
think
I would
that
be
sounds like a
fine.
great like post podcast activity for you. Like you reward yourself with a blizzard. Now, do
I
you
like
do
that.
chocolate or vanilla or strawberry? Which I would judge you a little bit, but
For the base of the ice cream, always vanilla, but then I like any seasonal anything. So like a Easter chocolate extreme with Heath and whatever, or a brownie batter. I like the crazy ones that have like 12
yeah,
things inside of it.
I like getting stuff that's different. I don't always like. I don't get. I'm not one of those like every time I get vanilla ice cream. It's like if you're right. If there's like a seasonal thing, I gotta try that.
Oh
So,
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
good answers. Well, Kiki, thank you so much for being on the show and chatting with me. This is a fun, good conversation. I was also appreciating your backdrop, your house, and that is
Oh.
that a bookshelf or is that like your front door
Oh, I'm in my
deck?
dining room where there's more stability with the table. And this is just like the little dining room thing that we never touch, but that has the pretty glasses. And
Yeah,
right here's my wine collection
that's
in
so
that wine
cool.
fridge there. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
here's my precious children when they were still little.
yeah, they're old and decrepit. No, not decrepit, but old and not little anymore. So
They're not, they're all grown, but I'm happy my 20-year-old is in the house right now for spring break so I can go say hi to her after. She's still
that
cute,
she
even though she's
she might
20.
want to do a Dairy Queen run with you, you know?
It's my 22-year-old that's obsessed. If she were here, she would hear us through the ceiling.
He would sense it.
She would say, "Wait, is mom talking about Dairy Queen?"
That's
You're right.
funny. Well, Kiki, do you have anything you'd like to plug or tell us about, or before we go, tell the world?
Well, we've talked about the March 27th at the Muses Studio.
Mhm.
Ladies Laugh Lounge is hitting Nashville. Those links are on my social media, or people can go to my website, my Kiki's Comedy Club website. And in general, just for like booking, I am enjoying doing speaking
Mhm.
and coaching and performing. So just for booking, people can DM me or email me, Kiki Comedy 2.0 at Gmail. That's for the second career, a little nod to
Got
taking
it.
off
That's
with
fun.
something new. Yeah. And then if anybody wants to know just about more of my serious psychologist work or for like speaking through that, then I also have my practice website, wynsfamilypsychology.com, with my last name, Wynns, for all the things. So, and then if anybody happens to be listening in my area, Ladies Laugh Lounge Spring Fever Edition is April 9th here at Goodnight's Comedy Club. So we're gearing up for that too. 2 Ladies Laugh Lounge
Yeah.
shows this spring.
Does part of your site have like just the links to the upcoming Ladies Laugh Lounges? Is that
Yes.
something that okay? So what
Yes.
we'll do is in our descriptions we'll have we'll have Kiki's website where you can connect with her on social media, but then we'll also have a Ladies Laugh Lounge link too. So if you're in either North Carolina or in Nashville or anywhere in the world that you want to be in, and you're like, man, I really want to go to a Ladies Laugh Lounge, well, you could click that link unless this is like 1,000 years in the future and we're not here anymore, and then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe there'll be one online you can watch,
Drew
or
and
I don't
I
know.
will have been taken upstairs to heaven, right? We know we're
Right,
solid. We know where
yeah,
we'll
we're
be.
good.
We don't know where the
but
rest of y'all are that say all
but
those
if you're
dirty
still
curse
here and you're
words.
burning in the rapture, but maybe there's some comedy you can go check out. I like to think one of the ladies who didn't make it will keep the torch going, with the that's a
There
really
are a few I
weird.
can think of
So
that'll
yeah,
still
so
be here, keeping the torch going.
yeah, well, got to keep those laugh lounges. That
That's
they need
right.
it now more than ever.
That's
In the
right.
post-apocalyptic world, this is a weird way to end the
We got so
podcast.
dark.
So yeah, well, before we go, I always want to give you guys a reminder too. Cleancomedycollective.com. You can see our previous episodes. You can check out more information about Kiki and all of our comedians. She's in the North Carolina section, but you can check out many states to find your new favorite comedian. You can, if you're a comedian who works late and wants to learn more about networking with us, you can connect through our website. You can go see what shows we have coming up this month. And there's an option where you can join our Patreon or donate money if you're just like, wow, this is such an amazing podcast. I just want to give them all my money. I'm going to leave my family in rags so that I can help the Clean Comedy Collective. There's a donate section. I won't tell if you do that, but you maybe should leave some for your family. Anyway, this was a great chat, Kiki. Thank you so much for being with us. And
Thank you, Drew. It was a
yeah,
pleasure.
it was. This was a good chat. And we will see you all next week for our next chat. Have a great day.